Idil Baysalov, leader of the Coalition for Democracy and Civil Society, was known to make open accusations against the Kyrgyz mafia. He considered Rizbek a key member with a stronghold over politicians.
It's the infamous district now.
Why is it infamous?
Now, Rizbek Akhmatbayev was elected from here. So I will paint it in the black. This is the criminal people.
So you've got a former athlete who's a racketeer.
Yes.
Running as an MP here.
Running as an MP here.
You've got
widow of
the
widow
who was a racketeer.
Who was a racketeer.
Running down here, and you've got a racketeer and former sportsman
here.
Up there.
Yes. The leading politicians, the most influential members of parliament, top journalists, great government officials, without mentioning civil society leaders, they all decline from commenting on the case of Rizbek Akhmatbayev. It's just like the humanity would never accept rats, in the daylight and on the dinner table. Just like us, we don't deny rats the right to exist, and they're probably somewhere, in every building. But until there is the state, until there is the civil society, we should fight the rats back to the underworld.
I knew from the murders that politics in Kyrgyzstan was a dangerous business. The next day, I found out just how dangerous it could be. We've just heard that Idil, the outspoken government critic who we spoke to yesterday, has been shot in the head, and we're on our way to the hospital to find out more. Shortly after arriving at the hospital, where injured NGO activist Idil Baysalov had been brought, Prime Minister Kulov turned up. People weren't sure what had happened, but they were angry and demanding action.
If authorities and leadership, if they are in a close linkages with the criminality, and they close their eyes to these kinds of events, it's terrible for country. It clearly indicates that they are together with these criminal people, and it's big danger for country.
An hour later, the Prime Minister emerged. He told the press that Idil was in a critical condition, but conscious and stable. The Deputy Interior Minister promised that investigations were already underway. This is clearly treated as a very, very serious incident. The Prime Minister was here and the Deputy Interior Minister. They're very careful not to mention any name, but they're saying it's a crime perpetrated by the person who was most criticized by Idil. I have heard contradicting statements. Some say Rizbek was in hiding, others that he could easily be found in his power base 180 kilometers from Bishkek. People are saying that Rizbek Akhmatbayev is a very elusive man. We're just on our way to Balakshina, which is the place where he was actually elected, and we want to see if we can find him. This is Rizbek's campaign office, but it's closed. But there's a biography, and it says he used to work as a boxing trainer in this region. And since 1994, he's been running unspecified business. A football pitch and sports center were gifts from Rizbek's family to the town. The manager told me nobody knew where Rizbek was. And did he vote for Rizbek? Does he think that everybody here voted for Rizbek?
If
he's allowed to take his seat, he'll help everybody, not just those in sport, but everybody.
The newspapers are saying that Rizbek is a criminal. They say that he's a racketeer and that he's been charged with 3 murders. Did you not mind voting somebody who's accused of having committed those sort of crimes?
Where's the proof? If he's really guilty of being a crime boss, he'd be in prison already. So where's the proof?
He chose not to
No
give
name?
me his name.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Спасибо. Thanks.
I didn't find Rizbek, but I did meet someone who had a connection with the attack on Idil, the Deputy Interior Minister who had spoken outside the hospital. He himself had been the head of the Boxing Federation until January 2006. Perhaps he could make sense of everything I'd seen.
What is the link between politics, sport and crime in Kyrgyzstan?
Спортсменов многих, так, они формируют свои банды.
There are lots of sportsmen who form their own gangs. They join organized crime syndicates. Why then were there so many murders around the National Olympic Committee?
Олимпийского комитета.
Being closely involved in politics gives you influence. It gets you closer to decision makers, to people who can solve your problems. Criminal gangs want to appear legitimate.
Организованная преступность хочет легализоваться.
He reassured me that the police had sportsmen on their side too.
И сотрудников милиции тоже.
Lots of our policemen are also involved in sport, so it's balanced.
The Deputy Interior Minister recommended for me to meet the new chairman of the Kyrgyz Olympic Committee. A former wrestler and previously head of Bishkek police, Murat Saralinov was endorsed by the Interior Ministry. It was his job to clean up Kyrgyz sport. He had brought in a new team, but said the long-term solution would not be easy.
Будет экономическая стабильность, будет стабильность в стране.
If there was stability in our country's economy, if there was general stability here, then our sports would attract the investment and attention of world sports organizations. If we can become attractive, then we'll solve our problems.
Привлекательным. Вот эти все моменты мы должны как бы в комплексе решать.
In the meantime, there's been no let-up in the murders. Less than a month after I had left, Rizbek Akmabayev was gunned down. He was shot as he left evening prayers at a mosque. His body was taken back to his lakeside home for burial. The International Olympic Committee has threatened to expel Kyrgyzstan if criminals continue to inhabit the Kyrgyz sports world and use it as a recruitment ground. But this is about more than just sport. Corruption, intimidation and racketeering reach all the way to the top. The international community is increasingly concerned. Kyrgyzstan needs to act now, before it's thrown out of the ring for good.